My name is Jennifer Hinke. I'm the laboratory manager here for the Coachella Valley Mosquito Vector Control District. With my colleagues Greg and Tammy, we're going to talk to you about what happened in 2023. It was an unimaginable year for us with Hurricane Hilary and the mosquitoes in the desert. The district has an integrated vector management program, which is an evidence-based, data-driven decision-making tool used to suppress vector-borne diseases. IVM prioritizes surveillance of mosquito populations, the removal of mosquito sites, public outreach, and education campaigns. When thresholds are reached for controlling mosquitoes, the district uses all available options: physical control, such as removing standing water, biological control, or placing mosquito fish in appropriate locations, and chemical control, using products and application methods targeted to controlling the mosquitoes. We are dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for our community by providing effective and environmentally sound vector control and vector-borne disease prevention programs. The work of the IVM program involves the work of 3 departments. There's Surveillance and Quality Control Department, the Operations Department, and the Public Outreach Department. While everyone at the district is dedicated to reducing virus and the impacts of virus to our community, it is the work of these 3 departments that are going to be presented as part of this presentation. I'll present the work that was done by the Surveillance and Quality Control Department, and you'll hear from Greg for the Operations Department and Tammy for the Public Outreach Department. So when it comes to the Surveillance and Quality Control Department, we are setting a number of traps throughout the valley, and the trap locations are approximately located as you see on the map. In the western Coachella Valley, the cities, we have 2 types of traps that are primarily set. The gravid trap, which is on the left, which is designed to collect mosquitoes that are looking for standing water to lay their eggs, and our BG Sentinel traps on the right, which are the traps that are designed to collect Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. And in the eastern Coachella Valley, we are setting CO2 traps or carbon dioxide traps, which are designed to collect adult mosquitoes that are looking to bite birds or to bite people and trying to find blood. When those traps are collected, they are then brought back to the laboratory where the mosquitoes are identified to species, and up to 50 mosquitoes are put into a sample, and those samples are then tested on site to determine if they have West Nile virus or St. Louis encephalitis virus, and the Aedes mosquitoes are sent to UC Davis to determine if they have dengue virus or Zika virus. We have a lot of information that we put into the California Vector Serve program, and that information comes back to us in the form of this map, where we then are able to see where we have virus activity and where our neighbors have virus activity. And this is what virus activity looks like across the state for California. It was a very big and active year for both West Nile virus and St. Louis encephalitis virus. When it comes to how the district conducts our work, we use a risk model to tell us how likely it is that mosquitoes might be transmitting or vectoring the virus that we're concerned with. In this case, we're looking to see 5 different factors. Are there virus-positive mosquito samples from a particular area? What is the number or the abundance of the vector mosquitoes from that area? What is the temperature for the previous 2 weeks? Where are there positive dead birds? And where are there people getting sick from a virus? Each of these factors is scored from 1 being low and unlikely to have transmission of that virus to 5 being high and likely to have transmission of the virus. And we average those 5 values together to tell us whether we are in normal season, emergency planning, or epidemic conditions. When it comes to the work that the district performs, we are able to have the most impact on the virus-positive mosquito samples and the abundance or the number of those mosquitoes in a particular area. And so you will see often that we are targeting particular areas because we have one or both of these factors. So when it comes to what 2023 looked like for us, we had had a very active mosquito virus season before Tropical Storm Hilary came into the area. Up until that point, you can see that we had press releases that were being sent out when we had virus detections in new locations, and we had done adult mosquito control activities in the form of a ULV application in a number of locations because of that virus activity. Most of our virus activity was in the form of St. Louis encephalitis virus, and that virus activity was mostly along the Salton Sea area. Then when the hurricane and tropical storm moved in, you can see that we had a large amount of rainfall that happened over a 48-hour period where we had about 5 inches throughout the valley, and this is the amount of rain that we have on an annual basis usually. We had a large amount of rain that was washing out roads in particular areas, including La Quinta, where the bridge was being constructed, near the Elks Lodge in Cathedral City, the storm channel in Rancho Mirage. This is looking at it during peak flow compared to when there was not water in the area. You can see how much rain activity we had had. And obviously that means that a lot of the water is going into the storm drains, into different areas like this particular area in Rancho Mirage. And what that means is that a few weeks after the storm, which we have indicated here in black, you can see that we're starting to need to do mosquito control activities to combat West Nile virus. Here, you may have noticed that before the storm, we had had about 10 West Nile virus activity, West Nile positive mosquitoes, and about 100 St. Louis encephalitis positive mosquito samples. Now we have seen that we've grown quite a bit in the weeks after the storm. Here you can see that we had a little bit of activity and some new press releases that were being put out. The positive mosquito samples down by the Salton Sea meant that we were doing an aerial application in that area, as well as truck-mounted applications in the communities of Mecca and Thermal. The following week, we had an additional 20 positive mosquito samples, and we found that we needed to do some additional work in both Mecca and Thermal, some additional aerial applications in the eastern Coachella Valley. We finished those applications early in the week, and later in the week we detected more positive samples, which meant that we did an aerial application in the eastern valley along the Salton Sea, as well as truck applications in the city of Palm Desert and in the city of Palm Springs. The following week, we were finishing up those applications, and new detections of virus activity occurred in Palm Springs, meaning that we did additional virus control measures by applying pesticides to control adult mosquitoes. We had similar activity that we need to do in Indian Wells, and then in the community of Indio. We finished up those applications, and we found new activity then again along the Salton Sea shoreline, and additional applications that were made to the communities of Palm Desert, Rancho Mirage, Indian Wells, and Bermuda Dunes. We did start to see a little bit of slowing of our activity, and had some additional control measures that were put into the same 4 locations because we had 10 positive samples this week. As we get to middle of October, we had some additional activity and found that we were doing some additional activity of control measures late in the season to wrap up our positive applications. What you can see that as we end our season, we ended up with 120 positive samples for West Nile virus compared to the 10 that we had before the storm, and 118 positive samples for St. Louis encephalitis compared to the 100 that we had had before the storm. Both of these meant that we had a very active mosquito season and a lot of virus activity that we ended up doing a lot of work around. You can also see the impact of the storm in the number of Culex mosquitoes. These are the ones that can vector West Nile virus and St. Louis encephalitis virus. You can see that our number of mosquitoes per trap is much higher than our 5-year average, and this is continued to be evident particularly in the Eastern Valley, where we see our Culex tarsalis mosquitoes as pictured on the left. Those storms meant that we had a huge increase in the number of mosquitoes per trap there compared to our 5-year average. We did see an increase in our mosquitoes in the cities, which is the Culex quinquefasciatus mosquito. And while we did see that that was an increase in September following the storms, we did see that those numbers went down rather quickly. And this is what our virus activity looks like compared to the 5-year average for both of these viruses. On the left, we have West Nile virus. You can see normally we see activity in June through September, and here we really saw a push of activity from September in through early November. our St. Louis encephalitis virus activity we had seen earlier in the season before the storm, and we got a second little increase of that activity after the storm.
Good evening, trustees. Today I will be providing an update of the work done in 2023 in response to the arbovirus detections in the Coachella Valley. Once we received confirmation of mosquito virus detection, the operations team prepares our disease warning signs. These are to be placed around the detected area. They are generally placed at main intersections, areas where the public can be alerted of the virus. If UOV emissions are also planned, the team will add additional signs alerting the public of the applications. The signs contain our district information with a QR code directing them to our website, which contains all the information for the application. In addition to posting signs, enhanced surveillance is performed by the operations team. This consists of running a mile buffer from the detected trap. The buffer will illustrate the number of sites that have not been visited or inspected within the last 14 days. Depending on the number of sites, a team is deployed to conduct surveillance on said sites. The work is ongoing until all sites are visited. Once out in the field, the team then performs all the needed work. Staff is asked to inspect all known sites, but also branch out to inspect other areas with potential to mosquito breeding. For the 2023 year, the operations team conducted 72 truck-mounted missions. They are performed on the early mornings starting around 2 a.m. Most of our control efforts, as you can see in the graph, were performed in the months of September and October. This is correlating with the ongoing virus detections in the Coachella Valley. Here's a graph illustrating the number of acres treated in the cities. These are all with ongoing virus detections. We covered about 40,437 acres. Each mission was planned to carry for 3 consecutive days. As mentioned, these applications are carried out starting around 2 a.m. In response to the ongoing virus detection in rural habitats such as the shoreline, the district planned and conducted 23 aerial UOV applications with a total of 58,607 acres. In addition to our UOV applications, the district also performed 3 days of aerial larvicide covering about 840 acres. In addition to our aerial applications, we also had our field staff perform enhanced surveillance in the outskirts of the shoreline. These areas covered known sources such as duck ponds, drainage ditches, desert floodings, and all other known sites, and branching out to other areas to ensure there are no other standing water potential for mosquito breeding. We also perform drone applications around areas in the shoreline, as well as to known desert floodings and other flooding areas created by heavy rainfall from Hurricane Hilary. In addition to our drones, our team also performed bear applications. This covered roughly 25 miles of vegetation, utilizing 2.3 gallons of product. In total for the year 2023, we applied 222 gallons of adulticide via truck-mounted efforts, 318 gallons of adulticide products through the air with a helicopter, in addition to 52.5 gallons and 2,750 pounds of dry products of aerial larvicide. These efforts were targeting areas in the shoreline with high mosquito breeding and poor accessibility. Okay, this is my report, and now I will pass it on to Tammy to talk to us about their response efforts. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is Tammy Gordon. I'm the Public Information Department Manager, and I'll be giving the public outreach update for 2023. After we meet as IVM and have a new virus detection, or we decide on a neighborhood treatment series, my team goes through a checklist for our news releases. And some of this will happen simultaneously, but we try to do each of these in its turn. So the first thing we do is we'll reach out to each of you, the trustees, with a summary of the information. We also reach out to the city manager or county supervisor's offices and their staff to let them know similar roundabout things that we're up to as we're getting the final approval for our news release from the managers. We wait for the final approval from Jeremy and then get it translated before we send the final release to the trustees and to the city or county district staff. We then post it to our website, and then we'll blast it out to our stakeholders such as the California Department of Public Health or Riverside County Public Health. And then we will also blast it out to our listserv, which is about 5,500 subscribers, including other sister districts throughout California. And the last thing that we'll do is post it to social media and do some of our targeted outreach there. So sending out our news releases, we do have a threshold that are when they're triggered. So when we have a first positive sample within a new city limits, that will trigger a news release. Or in turn, if there is a neighborhood treatment series in a new area, that will be a different news release. So from June through August of 2023, we only had 4 news releases sent out. And that was about 17 stories, which is pretty common. Lots of buzz going around, things like that, no pun intended. In September, however, we had to release 8 just within the month of September with all the things that were happening. And that generated 19 news stories. When we were releasing on social media, here are some of the numbers from 2023. Like I said, our listserv or our email blast system has about 5,500 subscribers to it that get our news releases directly to their inbox. Nextdoor, which is a third-party social media platform, has about 170 members just in Coachella Valley alone. And by utilizing some of the information and reports that they have within that system, we could see that we had 52 alerts posted to Nextdoor in 2023, about 150,000 impressions from those, and 250 thank you replies for the treatment notifications that we were doing. Also, Meta, which is formerly known as Facebook and Instagram, has about 1,500 followers, all said and done. And then X, which was formerly Twitter, has 669. Now, just to go into a little bit why we choose certain platforms with different areas, this is going to show you an example of how Nextdoor works in some areas. So on that bottom left-hand corner, those are all the people from Indian Wells, Bermuda Dunes, Palm Desert, and La Quinta when we had an application series there. Just in those dark green spaces alone, there were about 59,000 people that we were able to reach out to and do the notification to. Similarly, when we did our wide area larviciding in Palm Springs and had that series every Saturday, because we knew about it far enough in advance, Nextdoor was actually able to use our GIS mapping system and create a specific map for us where we could go in and every week update the residents just in that area and let them know what was happening. However, Nextdoor doesn't always work. So this is showing our rural side of the East Valley, and from Mecca Thermal, Oasis, and North Shore, when we combine all of those together, the Nextdoor users are only about 221 people. So of course we were still going to post there anyways. We might find some value in that, but when we were doing notifications, we only got about 27 impressions. So it's not always the best tool for us. Now on this slide, it's showing you that Meta or Facebook is a better tool when we're using it in the East Valley. We were able to post things about our control applications in the East Valley and spend just about $30 over 5 days to boost it, which puts it as an ad in the algorithm of the users in that area. And just for this post alone, we were able to reach over 3,300 people in that area. So in this case, in the East Valley, the Facebook or Meta boosts seem to work a lot better than, say, Nextdoor or just our listserv.
With that, it is our pleasure to share this information with you. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at cvmosquito@cvmosquito.org. Thank you.